I don't know, Scott. I was kind of debating on whether or not to make a video here. I've been down here at this little water hole that I dug out earlier after me and Bear kind of got camped here with that kidney stone. And it's a nice, quiet little spot down there in the hill. And he's up there resting pretty good today. He woke up there feeling a lot better today. He's not sick, not vomiting. Got him resting good. We'll try to fix this little supper in a little bit as after he gets up and mills around. But I kind of try to walk down there at the hill there to kind of just leave him in peace, let him just be quiet. And I brought my scriptures with me. And I was sitting down here, like I said, by that little water hole, and I was thinking out loud to myself while I was reading. I started this trip, and I don't know. I did honestly feel like the Lord had a purpose for me out here. I felt like that there was a seed or two that I could plant. Maybe somebody would listen and might be interested in knowing the peace that I found in the Lord, just the joy of it. I'm not out here to push it on anybody. I ain't Bible thumping or aggravating or really even approaching. If an opportunity presents itself, I speak free but not forcefully. I extend a hand, but I will not grab. But anyway, as I was sitting down here and I was studying on the verse that I walked up most of these mountains which was Isaiah 40:31, and it says that those who wait on the Lord will regain their strength. They will mount up on wings like eagles. They will run and not be weary. They will walk and they will not faint. And it was really interesting for me how I was using that verse myself personally to be able to just take one more step. I found myself relying more and more as I took each step on that verse of sort of a promise, probably slightly misunderstood. I'm not exactly what you call a scholar. Little girl named me Preacher out here is a trail name, but honestly, I ain't no preacher. I don't even want to be a preacher. I wouldn't try to be one. I might be a person you could, I don't know, a light, maybe something that you might see a little joy in and be interested in where it came from. And I can tell you where mine did, but I don't know. That verse, it's slowly changed for me over it, and it's the not necessarily the strength or the walking or the running or any of that part of it. It's those who wait upon the Lord. And I've found myself that I was studying the fruits of the Spirit, and as they came to me, the first thing that came to me, of course, in my case, was love. I experienced love, and the hate of this world in my heart was changed the second I quit trying to do it and let God do it. But then the second in the list was joy, which myself, I've always been kind of a joy-filled person. I've always been a really happy personality, but I guess it was a worldly standard of joy, because in a bad situation it would dissipate and fall away, which I'm not saying that it doesn't now. There are times I believe that the Lord wants us to be sad. I'm not saying that this joy that I experience now is not completely fulfilling. It is completely fulfilling. It's just a different type of joy. Since he introduced me to love, the joy that I know now is not really as much the worldly joy, but much more of a joy that came from him. It's a joy in every circumstance. It's a joy being able to sit at this water hole, even though that youngster up there is trying to pass a kidney stone. I mean, we could be in the middle of town, we could be at home, we just happen to be out here on the trail. But still, in a sense of me, there's a joy that God has provided a beautiful sky, a good campground, a good water source. Then after you read love, joy, peace. And most of my life I was in massive turmoil. I've been I've never really known peace. I've always been at war. My whole life I was brought up to war. It was a way of life. It was the roots I came from, the area I came from, the way I was taught, the way that I learned. It's just always been a part of me until God started sharing his peace when he showed me love. And many, many years later here, probably 2006, it's 2018, probably 10 years later, before I had ever realized peace. And even now, it's only been a couple of years that this peace has been really upon my life, and it is incredible. Just this, I am exceptionally eager to really truly understand what he talks about when he talks about the peace of God, even deeper than the peace that is around me in my home with my wife, at just the general peace there. I'm anxious to experience a deeper peace. But then that next one that I read, which I've been writing them down, as I was writing them down, I realized how they had happened to me almost exactly step for step as they were given in the scripture. Then I finally came to the one which was at patience, and I'm realizing that perhaps that's where I'm at, is, I apologize. Is he's bringing me into a little understanding of patience through this. Like I said, I've been running around this mountain yelling for those who wait on the Lord. Not really understanding exactly what waiting on the Lord is like. I mean, learning, obviously. I would be 60 miles from here preaching to everybody up and down this trail, Anthony the evangelist. And instead he has me sitting by a spring. In a place of peace and rest. And one of healing, while this youngster heals, while he gets stronger, and we can move forward. And perhaps it's not just him that's healing. I really didn't mean to make the spectacle. I just am filled with awe at this wonderful trip, at this opportunity. My heart overflows. I leak. Joy explodes. Intimacy grows. Grace and forgiveness flows. Oh, Father, I thank you so much for this opportunity. Anyway, I would I would call out probably more so than anybody for the transformation in my life. I would have to say that it came in the shape of my wife. God used her mightily He used a young named Michael, a stepson, a blood son. I have no steps. And he did. He used her mightily in my life, and I would think her to the world. I would think her. I don't know. That's kind of my witness. If I could give you one piece of advice, don't just listen to hearsay. Read scriptures. I wanted to prove them wrong. And they crushed me. And they taught me. And they put me on a firm foundation. They put me on the truth. They did. And honestly, for the first time in my life, I can say I'm on the rocks. But that's kind of my story. I mean, there's millions of them. Some of you will listen, some of you won't. I pray to God there's a seed planted. Don't trust me. Read the scriptures. They've been trying to prove them wrong for 2,000 years. Can't do it. If they could prove them wrong, they wouldn't be on the bookshelves. They'd be a book burning party. Go read them. Read for yourself. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They're simple. Get English Standard. It's in your language. But I didn't mean to turn into what that little girl named me. I just meant to be a fella telling you how his heart felt. And I reckon that'll do for now. I'll talk to you later, I reckon.